Now, so I appreciate it. I want to welcome everyone to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. My name is Jerry Shockey, and I oversee all the youth and educational programs here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We're extremely excited to have these schools connected here today for our Heart of the Hall of Famer series featuring Pro Football Hall of Famer Fred Dean. And for some of you, you have connected with us before and you've connected to this series, but I think all the students are probably new to it. If the schools are not, the students are. So just to give you a little idea of what the idea of this program is, and it's really to convey what it took to get into the Hall of Fame beyond just the athletic ability. We know these Hall of Famers are great examples of athleticism, that goes without saying, but it took a lot more than that for them to get in there, get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and that's that's where those core character qualities come in. The 6 pillars that you guys are studying: the trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. Those are all cores of our Hall of Fame. It's allowed them not only be great on the field. What you will find is with most of our Hall of Famers, they've had tremendous success off the field as well because of those same character qualities. Those aren't just qualities to be a great football player. Those are great qualities to be a great Hall of Famer in everyday life. And Mr. Dean is an example of someone that has achieved greatness off the field as well. So we are really excited to give you guys the opportunity to speak with Mr. Dean and get to ask him questions today about character qualities and advice on life and things like that. So before we do that, before we ask Mr. Dean to share his opening remarks, there are a number of folks that we have to thank that help make this broadcast possible. And first of all, we have to thank the folks at Louisiana Tech Louisiana Tech University in Ruston, Louisiana. Matthew Ledette, Kathy Caraway, David Cargill, thank you so much for opening your doors and allowing Mr. Dean to use your facilities to do the broadcast. For those of you that don't know, Mr. Dean is Louisiana Tech alum, so I'm sure they were pretty excited to be able to call him back as well to his home, as they would probably say. We have to thank eTech Ohio through our State Department of Education, and Mark and Josh and Paul and all those folks that are troubleshooting these connections and bridging all the connections together. Thank you for your continued support of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We greatly appreciate it. We have to thank, obviously, the teachers that take the time, set up this class schedules, set up the video conferencing stuff, get connected to us, do the tests, do the materials with the students. Thank you so much for making this an important part of your day and connecting in here with us and taking time out of your busy schedules in the classroom and connecting with us. And then last but definitely not least, we have to thank, obviously, the stars of the show, the students. You're going to be the ones kind of driving the program here today. And so we are extremely grateful that you guys are a part of this as well. Just what we want to do real quick, and as I always say, I apologize to the schools for the teachers for allowing your students to do this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to call upon your school, and when I do that, feel free to unmute your microphones and give a little cheer, make some noise, whatever it is you want to do, clap, whatever it is you want to do. So teachers, again, close your doors on your classrooms. I apologize for letting your students yell in the classroom. But we're going to start with our good folks, and they're in a library there, so we're really going to violate things. Let's go to Jennings High School, Jennings, Louisiana.
Hey!
Yeah. Very library does not like me there at all. Every time I have you guys cheer. So, thank you very much. Phone there, Jennings. Oh, you're still on? There we go. We're good. Okay, and next we're going to go to Coconut Creek, Florida, at Lions Creek Middle School. Go ahead. Okay, thank you, Lions Creek, Coconut Creek, Florida. Appreciate it. Go ahead and mute there. And then we'll go to Del Valley, Texas.
Del Valley!
There we go. There we go. Well, we lack in numbers there. We make up in quality. So I see we've got a few students there that are going to be asking questions. And I wonder if Mr. Washington behind you is going to ask a question. You guys look behind you, in between you? Denzel? That was a joke. Okay. All right.
That was a joke. Okay. I get it. It's funny. It's funny.
Okay, thank you, thank you. So we appreciate you guys connecting here today. Again, I think all the schools are pretty well versed in this, but we want to make sure that you keep your microphones muted till we call upon you and have you ask your questions. But let me get to the introduction of Mr. Dean here. He's from the class of 2008. He was selected in the second round in the 1975 draft by the Chargers, played linebacker in college. Quickness, speed, strength made him a feared pass rusher. Career sack total near 100, but unofficial since sacks were not an official NFL statistic until 1982. He had a career best 17 and a half sacks in 1983. He was named All-Pro in 1980 and 1981, All-AFC twice, All-NFC twice, and named to 4 Pro Bowls. He was born in Arcadia, Louisiana. Some of his other athletic achievements include Louisiana Tech University Athletic Hall of Fame, Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, Boys Club of New York All Sports Hall of Fame, San Diego Chargers Hall of Fame, College Football Hall of Fame, San Francisco 49ers Hall of Fame. So 2 teams obviously have inducted him into their Hall of Fame. He was voted the #1 athlete in the history of Northeast Louisiana, and he was also the biggest honor that an individual player can receive in the professional ranks of football. And again, in 2008, he was enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Off the field, he's a graduate of Ruston High School and Louisiana Tech University. He went through United Theological Seminary and Bible College. He's got a certificate of license in the gospel ministry. He completed that in 2004. He's got a Bachelor of Theology that he completed in 2003, a Master's of Theology that he completed in 2005. He is the founder of New Nature Ministries, which he began in 2008, and he became an official ordained pastor in 2012. And he's currently pastor of that church that he founded, New Nature Ministries, which is a non-denominational church in Ruston. And one thing he made sure to add in, I could just picture him being this. He's an avid fisherman. He enjoys fishing as well. So something about Fred, you just strike me as a fisherman. So what we're going to do before we go to Mr. Dean's opening remarks, we're going to go to a quick highlight film of his playing career.
A standout linebacker in college, Fred Dean was moved to defensive end after being drafted by the San Diego Chargers. Despite tipping the scales at just 230 pounds, he dominated opposing blockers, amassing an estimated 100 sacks in his career. In 1981, Dean was traded to San Francisco, where he played for almost 5 seasons. In 1983, he led the NFC with a career-best 17 and a half sacks. A 2-time Super Bowl champion, Fred Dean was named an All-Pro twice and played in 4 Pro Bowls.
So if you can all unmute your mics for a second and join me and give him a warm round of applause and saying welcome to Pro Football Hall of Famer, Mr. Fred Dean. Thank you very much. We'll ask again all the schools to mute their microphones. And Mr. Dean, the microphone is yours, sir.
Hello, Jerry. It's nice to be here today. I'm saying when I looked at the papers that you sent me, I'm saying I was very interested. It was very interesting to see that the information that you've given me and the things that would be required of me is not actually a whole lot. So I'm saying just for me to share a few pointers of my life and upbringing and so forth, it brings me great delight. I feel as though, I accomplish things simply by putting forth the necessary efforts to achieve my goals. I really didn't set goals at that time because I was too young to really even think about that. I was too busy having fun. But the bottom line is, my fun turned out to be a great thing, because I know in anything that you do, you got to have fun at doing it. And in life, especially, you must have a joyfulness about yourself that people, you don't let anyone, any people, anybody, deter, take that away from You know, that's the one thing I learned from my mother and father. You know, first of all, I thank God because I came up in a Baptist home, and my mom and dad, you know, they were strict on us about attending church and learning some of the good values of life on another side. So I'm saying that played a big part in my life, and I never I never thought I would play professional ball, because number one, mom didn't want to see her son get hurt. But the bottom line is, my thing was, I had a certain amount of rage in me, and as all kids do, there's a certain amount of rage, and if you don't control that rage, bad things can happen. But I found myself out there hauling puckwood. Some folk call it log, but it was wood cut to a certain degree, and I hauled puckwood, hauling hay, doing a lot of the heavy lifting and heavy work. And I would say that somewhat developed me for football in a roundabout way. The way my agilities and so forth. I'm saying, when mom tell us to be home, we had to be home, and sometimes you had to outrun a car to get home, and that was something that I became very good at, beating mom home. So a lot of the things played a big part in my life. And mom, she had a way about her that would really put emphasis on a lot of things. A lot of people, I'm saying, a lot of kids don't have both parents, but in this case, I had both. I was fortunate to have both parents. And Dad, he never would. He very seldom raised his voice. But mom, she was the true anchor in that house, and what she said went. And I'm quite sure that a lot of athletes can attest to that, because parents, fathers, they really go out and do a lot of work, but mom, they're really stern. They carry the big stick. So it was those things that catapulted my life, and the things in life that I wanted to do, and the things in life that I wanted to achieve. She always made us do the things that we didn't want to do, but at that time you don't really see it. But later in life, it all pays off. It all shows up, because we just didn't look at things. Kids today don't look at things the way that we look at them. I'm saying, they got so much going on that it's abuse when you do this, or abuse when you do that to a kid. But see, the bottom line is, my thing is, I don't call any of that abuse. The licks that mom put on us, there was no abuse at all. I said, for me, that was unconditional love. And that's something that's very seldom with the kids doing things today. I'm saying that could be a change in their lifestyle also. Not necessarily to do it that way, but they can. There are other things that they can be employed. And we as parents, we need to look out for our kids a little bit better, and put more restrictions and so forth on them as far as those things, but allow them to grow in life.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dean. We appreciate your opening remarks, and I really enjoy it. For students who don't know, I see a lot of you with sheets of paper in front of you. I have a sheet of paper in front of me as well. I love doing these programs because, as you can see already, I take notes, because there are definitely things that I've learned from our Hall of Famers over the last couple of years that I try to take back and apply to my life. And one thing that really stood out to me in his opening was, and I kind of take the same philosophy, you got to have fun in life. You hear me joking during this broadcast. You hear me, having fun throughout. I would like to reiterate exactly what he said in everything you do. I love my job. I love to get into opportunities like this. I love doing stuff in my community. I just have fun in everything that I do. So we definitely appreciate your opening remarks there, Mr. Dean. Before we go to the questions from these students, and I have a list of the list of the schools here. We're going to go in the order of Jennings, Louisiana, Lions Creek, and then Del Valley. One thing before we go to Jennings, one thing I do want to keep you guys keep in mind here. You have Mr. Fred Dean, okay? There have been 20,000 players, over 20,000 players that have suited up in the National Football League since it started here in Canton, Ohio in 1920. There are only 273 members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So when you talk about the great defenders in the NFL nowadays, whether they're a defensive end, linebacker like Ray Lewis or Troy Polamalu or whoever it is in the NFL that you consider to be a great defender, they aspire to be Mr. Dean and be in his shoes. And I suspect, as I suspect with most of our guys, that if they knew about his on-the-field career, obviously they would aspire to be that and be a Hall of Famer. But I think they would aspire to be, what they are off the field as well. So again, you guys have the opportunity to ask those questions that you want to know about his life and about recommendations and adversity that he faced and things like that. Feel free to ask those. So what we're going to do is we'll go from one question from each school, and we'll just keep rotating around. I'm going to guess we'll probably get through 5 or 6, 7 rounds through each school, so have 5, 6, 7 questions prepared. And we will go ahead to Jennings, Louisiana. Go ahead with the first question there, Jennings.
Out of the 6 character traits, which do you feel is most important and why?
So let me repeat that just to make sure we all heard that. Out of the character traits, and those are trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. Which of those do you think are the most important? I don't know, I heard a delay, so maybe you didn't hear it.
Okay. I would say the trustworthiness, that's one of the major ones for me. And the reason why is because if you can listen to your friends, whoever it may be, and have a certain amount of trustworthiness toward that person, it's important. You don't want to have to say something and it be a lie to that person. You always want to be straightforward with that person, knowing that someday that person might have to have your back in certain situations. So I'm just saying, for honesty and all of those characteristics in that, it's important that you have that trustworthiness. They can depend on you to say and do certain things to help them out in that time of need. And it's those kind of things. So I would say that trustworthiness is one of the most important ones to me.
Okay, thank you, Jennings. And we have a great first question to start the program off, so we appreciate that. Let's go to Coconut Creek, Florida. Lions Creek.
How early in life did you know you wanted to play football?
Well, since I started as a sophomore in high school, I didn't really want to play, but the troubles that I was having brought me into football, because I had a coach to take me up and say, why don't you take some of that balance to the field? So I did, and once I got there, I enjoyed it. And that's the way it is in life. When you have problems in your life, and you might not have football, but whatever it is, I don't care if it's studying or whatever, you want to apply yourself wholeheartedly into 100% and make that opportunity.
And let me just double check, make sure it's not on my end. Lions Creek, was the audio cutting out a little bit at the end there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I don't know, Kathy, if you guys check just to make sure that, the bandwidth, that maybe there's somebody, a whole bunch of people aren't on the computer right now or whatever. So if you want to just check on that we had a little audio cut out there. Let's go to Del Valley High School. Caught the majority of it, just caught the last few seconds it cut out. Del Valley High School, go ahead with your question.
Yes, Mr. Dean, what was the 1979 San Diego Chargers team like? And how was it playing defense on a team that was known mostly for its offense?
Well, sometimes sometimes you feel kind of neglected, when you're on a team that looks at offensive structure all the time. But we made the best of it because defensively we had fun whenever we went out there. I'm saying we had Eric Carr yell, and they loved putting the ball up, and I'm saying I love them putting the ball up and scoring right away so we could get back on the field and have some more fun. So I'm saying, you know, it has its advantages and disadvantages. But I would say most of it was kind of an advantage to us because we wanted them to score really fast.
And obviously that student did some good research on you, Mr. Dean there. So great, very resourceful question there. So appreciate it, Del Valle. We'll go to back to Jennings, Louisiana.
As an adult, are you still shaping your character?
I didn't quite get the question.
As an adult, are you still shaping your character in any way?
Oh yes, your character is something that you will always be shaping. You'll shape that until the day you leave. Yes, sir. So you know, it's like to put yourself in a position to do and be the best that you can be. You gotta do things for people and about people, and it's all about learning the necessary things you need to learn in order to best move forward in your life, in your endeavors, and whatever you want to do.
Okay, and thank you, Jennings. Let's go to Coconut Creek, Florida.
How supportive was your family in helping you become a football player?
Well, I would say it like this: my family was very important. They played a big role. Like I said, my mother didn't want me to play at first because she didn't want her son getting hurt. But the bottom line is, when you go out and you do things that you love to do, and you're having fun at it, you know, sometimes a parent, you know, they can give you the direction that you need to go. But the bottom line is, it's your direction that you take in order to achieve what you want to achieve.
And thank you, Lions Creek. Let's go to Del Valle.
When you were drafted in the second round by the Chargers, what did you think and how prepared were you for playing in the NFL when you were as a rookie?
Well, I was really surprised that I was drafted by the Chargers, number one. Number two, I thought that I could achieve anything because I always felt that there was no one that I couldn't defeat if I put my heart to it. So it was an obstacle that I overcame simply by putting forth the effort, doing what it took to get ahead, to be the best that I could be by working and choosing the way I worked and the people I worked with.
And if I can throw out a question there, Mr. Dean, and we'll get to Jennings here in just a moment. You know, you talked about trustworthiness being one of the most important pillars out of those six, and kind of along with that comes the word accountability. Can you talk about accountability, how it parallels between, you know, your career on the football field, you know, accountability of your teammates, and how even leading a church, the accountability that you have to your, you know, to all the folks that are in leadership at your church. You know, how do those parallel with each other?
Well, I say that in life, you know, for me, football, you know, it was one of the main obstacles for me in life because of the things that I went through, the hard times, the good times, and so forth and so on. And my role was always the leadership role. I'm saying whenever when I was younger, I made me a little money on the side by mowing yards. And I had people to mow yards, and we were able to get those things done. And it's like with the church. The church is the people. They need that kind of leadership, they need that kind of help. You know, people want to know what to look forward to, what to have their heart set in. And you know, you got to have something to believe in. And I see no better thing than to believe in God Himself. So if in life you're dealing with that, and normally what I did, I applied it in a lot of my life, and it's because I'm saying every now and then you get a 1st and 10, and you don't know whether you want to throw it or if you want to, but whatever the case may be, you want to get the job done, and you want it to be as efficient as possible to make it to the next stage. And just having the accountability, you know, you got people that are there. You're there for people, and they want to look up to you for the necessary answers. And if you don't have the answers, you got to know where to go and get them. And all of that is important.
And I think he touched on an important thing there. And Del Valle, I just want to remind you guys to make sure to keep your microphones muted. I think you might unmute it there for a minute, and I know we're getting feedback, so we got a little bit there. So make sure you keep your microphones muted. But and I just lost my train of thought on the point I was going to make, going to Del Valle. I should have did that back and forth, but it'll come back to me. Let's go to Jennings, Louisiana.
Which NFL team had a more meaningful impact on your career?
Oh, good question. I would say that you know, I love playing for the Chargers because that's where I first came into the league, and the guys there, I connected with all the guys there, and we had a lot of fun together, and you know, we kind of grew as a family, and you kind of get a connection. But after I went to San Francisco, I also connected with those guys, but with the Chargers, I didn't win a Super Bowl. We got into the playoffs and so forth, but with the 49ers, we did get into the Super Bowl, and we won a few of them. So, you know, I would say that I'm kind of balanced between the two, because I can't look at the Chargers and 49ers play each other, and I can't root for either one.
Okay, thank you, Jennings. Let's go back to Florida there. Creek.
Was there any steroid use that you know of in the NFL when you played?
Well, I can't say personally, but I'm quite sure that there was. I'm saying I never witnessed it, but I'm saying there's been a lot of talk and so forth, and a lot of guys have been accused of doing this and that. So bottom line is there has to be some truth to it. The thing is, I never had to use steroids and never felt the need for it, because if you put forth the necessary work and all that, you don't have to have anything to enhance your skills and your abilities. So I think with the dedication and hard work, that would take care of it all.
And you know, if you talk about the steroid issue there, you know, to make a point to you guys, you know, that really comes down to, I mean, there's a lot of things that those 6 pillars that it comes down to, but one of it's respect for the integrity of the game, by not abusing, you know, trying to take shortcuts in the game, so to speak. Respect for your peers, that you're on a competitive, even playing field with your peers, and respect for yourself, because of the, you know, long-term effects that it could have. You know, for a few short years of glory could have some long-term negative effects on your body. So having respect for yourself as well, that you wouldn't sacrifice your body for that short-term fame, you know, to have long-term effects to that. So let's go to Del Valle, Texas.
Growing up in Louisiana in the 1960s, could you explain to some of the students here today some of the discriminations that you faced in high school, college, and later in professional football?
Could you repeat that, please?
Growing up in Louisiana in the 1960s, could you explain to some of the students here today some of the discriminations that you faced as a high school student, a college student, and then later as a professional football player?
Well, the things I the things that I faced, it wasn't.
Make sure to mute your microphones there, Del Valley. We're getting a lot of feedback from you.
Okay. As far as when I went to school and so forth, and the schools were integrated, you know, I never looked at discrimination and so forth in that way. And you know, even though it was there, my way of living, the joyfulness that I had, the fun that I had, and I'm saying I could relate to anybody on any level because of that joy. And you know, it's some things you would, I'm saying I didn't really see it in that context because that's the way mom and dad raised us. They raised us to appreciate everybody, treat everybody with respect, and in doing that, just to, you know, give love where love is not necessarily. I'm saying everything is not perfect, but the bottom line is, if you live your life the way that you should live it, and give the kind of love and the caring that you feel that you deserve, and give it to others, because you first gotta love yourself and understand yourself before I would step out into that. And you know, and I look at too many things that happened in years past, and I think about those things. But the bottom line is, what's best for me? I know what's best for me because I know where I would go when this is all over. So it's like I'm really happy about the way mom and dad raised us to care about everybody and not just no one person.
Great question. Fred, they might not know about the story, but you know, a little Louisiana history for the folks, especially in Jennings. And you would have grown up during this time. I don't know if you, I know you know the story, but I don't know if you remember from your childhood, is the AFL boycott of the All-Star game in New Orleans that took place. So going back to the gentleman's comment or question from Del Valley, is that African Americans faced a lot of pressure in the National Football League and in the AFL, the American Football League. There were two different leagues that rivaled against each other. They eventually merged. In case you guys know or not, they became the AFC and NFC. But the African American players in the AFL that were playing in this All-Star game in New Orleans in 1964, I believe it was, they weren't getting this fair treatment off the field. They couldn't go to the same restaurants. They couldn't stay at the same hotel as their white All-Star teammates. They couldn't do a lot of those things. And they got together and said, hey, you know, if they're not going to, you know, let us enjoy the amenities of New Orleans, then we're going to boycott this game. We're not going to play for their fans. And they did. The game eventually moved to Texas, and most of the white players joined in as well as that boycott as well, led by another Charger, Ron Mix, as well. And you know, that set the stage in Louisiana that they started passing laws in the state to you know, integrate a lot of the restaurants and hotels and things like that. One of the big reasons why was because they won a football team in New Orleans, which obviously we know today now as the New Orleans Saints. Do you have any recollection of that, Fred? Do you remember that? Or I'm sure you played with some teammates,
Oh, yeah.
even though you were after that.
Yeah, I do. I have recollection of that, and I understand it wholeheartedly what he's talking about. You know, it's like this. It's like I said, you know, there were a lot of things happening, and there are a lot of things still happening today. But the bottom line is, you know, when you put love in your heart and you care, because my thing was, if I can deal with anybody on any level, regardless of how they treat me, it all depends on how I treat them. And I said, kindness sometimes is the best weapon against anything. You know, me, in my sense, in one sense of the word, I could have been a very violent person, but I would say my love overshadowed all of that. And then like again, once said, mom and dad, it's what mom and dad instilled in us. Everything is not going to be okie doke. Everything is not going to be as good as you want it to be. But after a while, is that things will change and things will start to happen by and by, as long as you are headed in the right direction and got your and you've got your mind set right for what you want to do in life. And it's all all of it's important, because I learned the one thing that I learned: anybody can be what they want to be. It all depends on their determination and how they want to get those things done. And I'm saying that's the ways of the world. That's something that's going to exist until the day we die. So the bottom line is, you got to learn to adapt to what is going on right now, what's happening in your life, and what's happening with you. And I'm saying you got to have the right mindset in order to best persevere in those situations. Everything, like I said, everything is not going to be, nothing's promised to you, and everything is not going to be that great for you. But the bottom line is, as long as you make the joy for yourself, what you want out of life and how you want to go about achieving that, that's the important factor here. I'm saying that we can talk about this until I'm black or white in the face, but the realistic part of it all is that it's all about how you adapt to life and what's in your heart. It's the weight that you carry that will make you the person that you are and the individual that you are.
Great advice there. I love the love in your heart. I wrote that down in quotations here as well. So let's go back to Jennings, Louisiana, since we gave you a little state history there. We'll go ahead with your question.
Are there any players in the NFL today that remind you of yourself?
Well, every time I turn the TV on and I look at the various pass rushers and so forth, I see myself all over again, and I kind of have a flashback, and I want to tackle my son or my wife or somebody, but I refuse to do that because I'm in another role now. But yeah, I look at the various defensive ends, and I see the moves that they make and so forth and so on, and I can see me in their moves. I can see in other words, I can see that person wheel turning prior to them going on the attack to make a certain move, and it's fun for me because in making those moves, you have to think about things before you do it. You visualize those things, and in the process you would do those things, and that's what I normally see in a lot of different players.
And visualizing is so important for you guys, to visualize what you want to accomplish, and that's not just on the football field. That's visualizing you want to get an A on the test. That's I visualized this program for the past month and a half of how I want it to come out. Visualize how you want things to go in your household. That's just advice for life, is to visualize how you want it to go, and it doesn't always go the way you want it to go. There's definitely, as Mr. Dean said earlier, adaptability is very important as well. But visualizing is going to help you get that outcome that you desire. Let's go to Coconut Creek.
Jerry, the students had to leave, and the question that was just previously answered is the question they had. So, our apologies to you.
Oh, okay, all right.
And
Thank
Mr. Dean.
Thank you very much. That means more questions for Jennings and Del Valle. Del Valle, go ahead.
You have played with some of the legends in the coaching world. Most of them have been on the offensive side of the field. Who was your favorite head coach, and who was your favorite position coach?
Well, I would say that one of my favorite head coaches was Coach Bill Walsh with the 49ers. And my defensive coach was Bill McPherson. And they made the game a lot more. It was a lot more fun for me when I played with them. I guess because number one, they were fun-loving guys, and they made the game fun.
And let me ask Del Valle a question. I'm going to get them talking here for a minute. Keep your microphone muted for just a second. But um, you know, when you have, let's say you're a football player, you guys look like some athletes in there. If you're having a problem in your particular sport, I think it's good that you brought up coaches in that question. When you have a problem in a particular sport with, you want to increase your foot speed, or you want to, increase your strength, or you want to know the playbook better, who do you go to for advice? Tell me, Del Valle.
I normally go to
your coaches, right?
your coaches, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
go ahead and mute there real quick. And thank you. You know, it's not that it's a lack of a better word, not funny, but it's funny that people, students on the playing field, if you have problems with something, you'll go to your coaches like that. If it's shooting 1,000 free throws, if it's working on, your left hand better, or whatever it might be in whatever sport. But as students, for some reason, there's this block that, that if you're having problems in a particular class, you don't want to go to the teacher for help. So it just seems strange that, in sports you have no problem. There's no problem going to that coach. But in the classroom, there's that block there, whether they don't want to appear dumb to their peers, or it's not cool to go up front to talk to the teacher or to get help after class. So there's, having those mentors in life. If you can talk about those, Fred, those mentors off the field that helped you, grow as a person.
Well, there were people that normally helped me off the field. A lot of my friends, and also was, I would say, coaches. Some people that I looked at as athletes and the skills that they had, and what I would do, I would take something from them and go and work on it for myself, and I would improve it or try and perfect it to the best of my ability. I'd watch a certain pass rusher, and he'd do certain things a certain way, and I would look at that and try to identify with it and visualize how I would do it. And I achieved a great deal from just that in itself. When I first went to the San Diego Chargers, I always looked at a player named Cory Baker, defensive end, extremely quick rusher and so forth. And then I looked at Deacon Jones. I even took people like Dick Buckus, looking at the way he manipulated the linemen and so forth. And then when you look at those and you tie them all together, you try to, I say, manipulate the offensive linemen to work them against themselves is what I would fortunate at it, because if you get somebody off balance, normally they're beat. I'm saying if I walked up to you and you said a bad word to me and I attacked you, one of the first things I would do would pop you in the nose, because then you wouldn't be able to see. So it would give you something to think about, and it would give me something to think about when I get locked up. So it's a thing that using people that you care about, you're concerned with, you trust, you feel as though they can make a difference for you in whatever you're trying to do. And I had a lot of people to come along and help me in that way, because I was able to manipulate linemen, and I'm saying the things that I did when I got into martial art, I was able to see that it was a whole lot. It had a lot of advantages for me, and I could change the circumstances in any play at any given time. It all depends on how I wanted to approach it. And then, number one, it was something that I didn't even have to think about. I just did it. It was just a reaction off of a certain move.
And it's something that's been repeated over and over again in all these. We've done 35 plus Heart of the Hall of Famers, and that's one of the things that Mr. Dean touched on there is he surrounded himself with positive people, and surrounding yourselves with positive influences, and surrounding yourselves, if you have a goal of whether it's being a scientist or a pro football player, whatever it might be, whatever your aspirations are, is surrounding yourselves with people that are going to challenge you to go towards that goal, that are going to give you the tools that you can learn from to make yourself stronger in those areas. So that's going to be so crucial to you guys, is surrounding yourselves with those positive influences. Thank you very much, going back to Del Valle there, but let's go to Jennings, Louisiana. If you guys have a question, go ahead.
Okay. What challenges did you have to overcome as a teenager to get where you are today?
Well, the challenges that I had to overcome was, I had to make myself sit down and study. I was a very shy person. I didn't really want to talk in front of people. I didn't care to intermingle with a whole lot of people. Only people that I would intermingle with was the people that I knew. But I found later on that if you don't express yourself in life, you're going to miss out on a whole lot, and you're going to miss out on a lot of people. So I would recommend that you open up, free yourself up to other people, and learn the techniques and so forth that it take to have true friends, better friends, and then to have better relationships.
Great question, Jennings High School. Let's go to Del Valle.
What advice, if any, would you have for high school athletes today who would aspire to be an NFL Hall of Famer as a defensive lineman like you?
Well, I could tell you like this. The thing that I can say for you is, number one, work hard. Work hard in the classroom and outside the classroom. Make everything that you do fun for yourself, regardless of what it is. Don't and try not to take no for an answer when it's something that you want to achieve, that you want to, I say, get over the hump about. I'm saying it's important in your life that you set goals for yourself that are attainable, that you can reach, and that you can be proud of. I'm saying as far as getting to the Hall of Fame and all that, I'm saying I can't give you the direct thing there, but what I can say, if you work hard and you put forth every effort that it takes to be as good as you can be, and to not let things tear you down, regardless of where it's coming from. Stand strong, stand tall, and believe in what you say and what you think. You know what I'm saying? The bottom line is, if you believe in what you say and what you think, believe me, you can achieve some things, and you can have fun in achieving those things. And I would always emphasize that. Make it fun for yourself.
Great question, great answer. Thank you very much, Del Valle. I want to open things up. We got about 10 minutes left here, and I don't know if Mr. Dean has any questions for the students, maybe, just to see, what kind of things. But before he does that, I guess I'll ask the students a question and ask them to respond to that question, and then maybe Mr. Dean can respond to your answers to the questions. What obstacles, as high school students, as I see out there, what obstacles do you face right now, in the classroom or outside of the classroom or on the field or whatever it might be? And maybe Mr. Dean can give you some more advice on how to overcome some of those obstacles. Let's go, Jennings. You guys have, what obstacles do you guys face? Put Jennings on the spot.
I guess like there's a lot of peer pressure and stuff, so like challenges of trying to make good decisions and going on.
Yeah, Mr. Dean, what advice do you have for peer pressure?
Well, for peer pressure, that's one thing that we've always had. I'm saying I had it when I was coming up and all that. But the bottom line is that peer pressure it only affects you when you allow it to. I'm saying there are too many people that you can go to. Like Jerry was saying earlier, you can go to coaches, you can go to teachers, you can go to, I'm saying, people that can do something about all of the problems that you're having. And I'm saying, don't hold back and feel as though you're going to be a tattletale. Because if you hit me, I'd tell it on you in a minute. And the bottom line is, you need to open yourself up for what's happening in your life. Be concerned about what's happening to you. I'm saying, because if you're not concerned about what's happening to you, you're not going to be concerned about what's happening to someone else. And I'm saying, as far as the bullies are concerned, I had them when I was coming up, but one day a bully caught me at the wrong time. And after that day, I ended up playing football. So it just goes to show that every bully is really not a bully. It's just a person that is lonely. He don't have anybody to really relate to. Sometimes true love and relationship with someone of that nature would change things. And it's something like that you have to. And the peer pressure, you're going to have that. But the bottom line is, don't let anybody, as I said earlier, run your life. You take control of your life. It comes a time in your life when you need to step up to the plate and say, I'm not going to accept this anymore. I'm not going to go that route. I'm saying to do drugs, to drink alcohol. I'm saying you're putting a responsibility on yourself. You see, in the prison ministry that I go to, I've been there and I've seen what has happened with a lot of kids. And when you go in and you see them crying because they can't see be with someone, it's not a nice thing. And I'm telling you now, it's something that you should think about. So don't let your peers put you down. Because remember this, you look as good or better than you ever did before you even met those people. So the bottom line is, people today, some of them can be very rude, but my thing is, and I always said, and I said to the congregation, dirt cannot talk about dirt. So why concern yourself with those things? Learn to love.
And Mr. Dean, if I can add on to that, did you face any peer pressure? We talk about peer pressure that they're facing. Did you face any peer pressure during your NFL career or off the field, things like? Do you continue to face peer pressure?
Well, peer pressure comes in many ways, many shapes, many forms, fashion. And the bottom line is, I deal with it now as I dealt with it then. There were people that, would say rude things to me, and probably some that said it behind my back. But today, at least they're saying it behind my back and not in my face. The other thing is that the peer pressure that I took back then, I learned to live with it. I learned to deal with it. I learned to go with the flow. Because, sometimes laughter is the best thing for anybody. And when you can laugh about certain things, regardless of what they is, and I made it a habit to have joy in my life, and I refuse to let anyone take that joy away. It's not the joy that a man gave me. So it's not this joy that he can't take away. So I'm enjoying my life. I'm having fun at it, and regardless of my peers and the ones that feel as though they can affect me in some shape, form, or fashion, I'm here to tell them that I'm sorry, you can't affect me.
And students, I want you to realize too, we talk about the negative part of peer pressure, but there is, again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, there is positive peer pressure too. Those that are going to push you to do better. Those pastors, those teachers, those principals, your friends that are challenging you to go better, get better in your classroom and studying with you, and that are doing, athletics with you and challenge you, and you're shooting hoops in the backyard, working together, to get better. There is positive peer pressure as well, and that goes again to surrounding yourselves with positive people. Del Valle, let's go to, what obstacles do you guys face? I see we got about 5 minutes left. We talked about peer pressure. Anything you want to add on there, Del Valle?
I say most of the peer pressure I face is with my friends. I know y'all exchanged that point, but it's kind of hard to deal with.
Would you like to share any comments with that? How difficult it is for dealing with peer pressure with his friends, and do you want to share anything with that, Mr. Dean?
Yes, well, the bottom line is, like I said, you need to learn to put joy in your life. There's a positive side to it, and I agree. But also there's also a side to your life that when you don't feel as though you can achieve something or do something because of what a person said or what a person is doing, and the bottom line is you're not giving it your all. I'm saying, for me to tell you now, you can be a perfect young man in one sense, by overcoming that obstacle. Don't let anybody, like I said, don't let them tear you down. You can always step up. I'm saying my reading's not that good, but then I practice on it, and practice can make perfect. So the bottom line is, if you're having problems with your peers, I'm saying sometimes you can flip that over. You flip the script on, turn it into a positive for yourself. If they say you can't do something, prove to them they're wrong by doing it and showing them that you can achieve beyond their beliefs even. And maybe then they'll say, they will give you the dignity that you deserve.
That's a great point. I love that point about flipping the script on them, using that negativity to fuel your fire, so to speak, to allow you to achieve greater goals in your life and disprove the haters, I guess as you could say. We have just a couple minutes left. Mr. Dean, are there any closing remarks or anything you'd like to reiterate to these students, or anything at all that's on your heart that you'd like to share with these students as we conclude this program?
Well, number one, I've enjoyed sharing with the students what I've had and what I've had to, and when I look at the heart and how people can tear your heart down or hurt your heart and so forth and all that. Well, I can only say it like this. If you got a certain amount of joy, if you have something that you can believe in and it'll never falter you, and you can always walk with your head up and feel that the dignity that you have is not something that the world gives you. And it's like this. I would say, keep walking forward, keep moving along the way that you want to achieve something out of this life. Life is, the things in life are really not promised to you, but then if you work hard and you move forward to get what you want out of life, I'm saying it's going to take some effort, it's going to take a lot of hard work. Do not let yourself disappoint yourself, because I always gave myself the benefit of the doubt. I'm my hardest critic. I can sometimes even be my worst critic, but the bottom line is, as long as I get something done, I have fun dealing with the youth today. I make it a point to deal with the youth in many facets of my life, and I want them to understand that, everything wasn't easy for me. So the bottom line is, it took me a lot of hard work, a lot of things. It took a lot of things out of my life, and you have to give up some things in order to gain some things. And the things that I wanted, it was just like I said, I just wanted it. It's not something that I need, but to move forward in life, we must remember that the things that we need, we can help others with, and help ourselves in the interim.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Dean. And if all the schools can unmute your microphones and join me in saying thank you and giving a round of applause to Pro Football Hall of Famer, Mr. Fred Dean. And, Mr. Dean, on behalf of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, from Steve Perry and Joe Horgan, Dave Mott, the group here, To our board and everyone else, thank you for taking time out of your busy day. I know you've got a ministry you look after that keeps you very busy, so we appreciate you taking time to do this connection here with the students here today. Schools, we definitely have to thank you guys for connecting in here with us. Thanks to Louisiana Tech for hosting Mr. Dean. Thank you to our friends at the State Department of Education, ETech Ohio, for connecting this all in. But most importantly, thank you, students. I mean, you guys had some awesome questions that were very relevant to what we wanted to convey here today. And so we thank you for your preparation and your work and your enthusiasm today for this program. So we appreciate everyone's participation, and this concludes our program. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.